I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't
God
that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to go along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here about to It is over. The Wisconsin Badgers come into enemy territory and knock off the Boilermakers on Senior Day here in West Lafayette. And you can make it 4 straight wins against ranked competition for the Badgers.
Congratulations, Marquette, on a signature win to conclude what has been a very difficult season.
Very much a winning weekend, Wisconsin. What's up? Happy Monday inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Good morning. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh in Milwaukee. Me in downtown Indy, where the winning didn't follow me. I know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of winning in Wisconsin before I left. And that's what made the weekend go. March Madness finally here and officially off and running. Tournament play, the Big Ten, the Big East, the Horizon League, amongst others. Anybody punch their ticket yet, Josh?
Oh, there are a few. There are a few.
Ooh.
Start if you're itching and scratching to learn all the teams that you need to learn for March Madness, get your pencils out. Not your pens, get your pencils.
Oh, yeah. With an eraser.
That's right.
Maybe even grab one of those big pink ones.
Those ones never worked.
Oh, really?
No.
I don't really like those.
The big pink ones? No.
You had to break them in a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's what exactly. So when you really needed it to start, you tore through your paper and then went, oh, come on. And then it was ready to go.
Wins in sports, wins in bowling, wins in good from the weekend. Let's play catch up.
Packers.
Do the Packers win this weekend? That's the question. There's a lot of people that are not quite sure. There's a big trade, there's a big signing, and you can officially, legally tamper today. First, the trade. The Packers send tackle Colby Wooden to the Colts in exchange for linebacker Zaire Franklin. Josh, I brought Colby down with me.
Oh.
And I'm picking up Zaire, and we'll make it back sometime this afternoon.
Initial thoughts on the trade?
I don't know. I mean,
I know.
First things first, I always go to the people that know more than us. So I liked it, but I want to go to the experts first. Here's Andy Herman on what he thinks.
This one is a bit of a head scratcher for me. You had a rotational defensive end that you traded away on a cheap contract, and you took back Franklin on a $7+ million deal this year. That's not an insignificant amount of money for a team that's still, pretty tight up against the cap. That to me is like all of it together just is weird. I think they gave up, quite frankly, the better player in Colby Wooden. I think they had to take on the salary. If you would have told me this, if you would have said that they had to take on the $7 million salary from Zaire Franklin and they gave up Colby Wooden, I would have said, well, clearly the Colts sent like a 5th or 6th round pick to take on that salary as well.
They did not.
Did I say I liked it? I mean, never mind. If Andy, sorry. Head scratcher is what I meant to say.
That's what Andy Herman said. We can ask Andy about that later in the show.
We're gonna 8 a.m. the Pack a Day podcast, and Andy Herman joins us to break down the trade, plus all things legally tampering. Is that not the dumbest saying ever?
I know.
As
legally
if tampering
illegal.
Ever sounds good?
It's now legal to do illegal things.
How dare you tamper? Well, it was legal. What do you mean? All right, Josh, what do you think? I don't mind it, I guess, but I don't know enough to be dangerous with this one. I thought we were a little light on the defensive line last year, so it was a little weird seeing Wooden go bye-bye. But maybe this is good for competition at linebacker.
Yeah, I was excited, and then I was confused. But just because I'm confused doesn't mean that I think it was a bad trade. It just means that I'm going, okay, well, I guess we'll see, right? Like I don't think it wasn't a trade that was definitively upsetting to where I was going to be like, what are they doing? And be that type of fan. It was okay, maybe yay? Question mark. A lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Good news. We have an entire segment that covers just that. Maybe you have questions. We definitely do amongst this and other things from Wisconsin sports over the weekend. 414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. If you have questions about that, we'll answer them. And if we can't answer them, then we'll ask Andy Herman at 8 o'clock specifically about that trade, maybe anything else Packers related. There is one other thing from the Packers over the weekend, along with them, as in the Packers and just the Packers community, continuing to remember and memorialize Bob Harlan. The Packers put up billboards, Josh, overnight.
Yeah, good.
It's a big deal. I went to look up if there was any arrangement information and what the plan was there. It sounds like that all comes out on Wednesday. The Packers did come out and announce a signing, an extension, a re-signing. We got the center under contract for some time. There are some people that are unsure about that, but Sean Ryan, nonetheless, has the potential to be the highest paid center in the NFL. Here's Aaron Nagler on his thoughts on that.
Packers have agreed to a 3-year contract extension with Sean Ryan, $33 million, and could go up to $39 million, apparently, making him the, quote, highest paid center in the league. Ryan will be talked about because of his versatility, though people forget he was so bad the first 4 games of 2025 at right guard that he got benched.
Okay.
Well, but they're not paying him to play right guard. So
yeah, that's good.
They're paying him to play center, and they liked what they saw there, apparently, in the amount of games that he was there. And they went, this is our guy, and they paid him. I don't mind that move. I don't. I know a lot of people were upset, but the people that are upset really seem to just be upset with what he's getting paid, which I'm always confused by. Like, if you're only upset by what they're getting paid, then you shouldn't be upset, because then that means you like the player. It's not actually costing us money. It's if you're saying this guy's not good, why did they pay him? That's a different conversation. If it's, oh boy, I don't know if he was worth that amount of money, then you're going, okay, but you like him. Then you like that he's a player on your team and you're not the GM. So don't worry about that. That part's fine.
Can you imagine having a job like that, Josh? You make how much? Oh my God. That's why. Why do you get paid that much?
Right.
You're not that good. That would be weird. Walking around. Wait. I saw you signed a contract for how much? Man, I thought they were going to fire you instead.
Yeah. And that always seems to be like the big conversation. And then depending on how they play, then it becomes about that being the number one thing. Then it doesn't become about the money. That becomes just about, are you good or do you suck? Not now. Now it's about how much you get paid. It's very confusing.
One other note on what we just listened to there from Andy Herman and Aaron Nagler. The Packers traded for a Pro Bowl linebacker and then also signed a center that played pretty well. Was it me or was Andy Herman and both him and Aaron Nagler really sound down in the dumps?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't seem very happy about either of these moves.
I don't like that.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
The eternal optimist in me is going, but guys, like, we have a lot of time. It's the first day that we can legally tamper. Let's sign some guys. Let's see how it shakes out. Goody said he wanted competition up, down, left, and right. Andy did talk about how they'll need to reestablish his contract, or if not, make some other cuts because now they're over the cap again. In the Packers front office, we trust. Until we lose 5 straight, then we have questions. But for now, looking ahead, we trust.
Well, and the other thing, too, that we didn't get to was we also thought that Rashawn Gary was going to be gone based on a social media post saying, hey, thank you, Green Bay, from Rashawn Gary.
Hackathon?
Never mind. He got hacked? Question mark. I mean, just the weirdest thing of just the continuing saga of Rashawn Gary being in Green Bay. And I think it was Andy that said, okay, so now if he does get traded or cut, like, Do they use the same graphic? Do they use the hacker graphic? Do they have to make a new one? Incredible stuff.
That must have been like being alive for your own funeral for him. He posts that he's leaving, and everybody's like, woohoo!
Yeah. Oh,
Wait a minute.
So that's how they would react. Okay.
I'm going to take that down.
Yeah.
That didn't go well.
No, that wasn't me. Do you think it was him, or do you think it really was a hacker?
I would think that if it really was him, the actual news would have come out by now, and we haven't seen any of that, have we?
Well, right. No, there's been nothing that has said officially that he's.
So if that was real, then I would think we would have known that it was real, but too early by now. Versus no, maybe he did just get hacked. But hey, get your popcorn ready. I'm here for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baseball.
Brewers.
Just the Brewers, although we will hear a little bit from a few of our Brewers. But first, if we could, Josh, can we go to Bryce Terang in the World Baseball Classic? Let's go.
Yeah, and I actually just spoke with Manny during the last inning break.
Terang, opposite field, that's got a chance. It's off the wall. Boy, this guy has just exploded into the scene. Fly ball left field. Maskai misjudges it, and it takes a weird bounce off of the fence, and 3 runs are going to be chased home. Raleigh, Anthony,
Bryce, 2 doubles tonight. Some great swings from you. What are you going to cherish the most about your WBC debut?
Man, it's really cool. I'm happy with the win. We got the win. So awesome being around these guys. Just the knowledge they have in the game and how much they care about winning and making everybody better is just so cool. I'm very blessed to be in this situation, and it's a great experience. I mean, it's a dream for sure.
After the final out, the text that I'm sure you'll have from Pat Murphy tonight after this win for Team USA, what is it going to say?
Lock it in for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Team USA 15, Brazil 5 in the opener in the World Baseball Classic. Have a game, Bryce Terang. He was 3 for 6, 4 RBIs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases. And did you see where he hit in the lineup, Josh?
Yeah, 9th.
The 9th spot.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Terang doing those things from the 9th spot is really, really good news. In regard to the Brewers lineup, do you want Joey Ortiz batting at the bottom because he's fast and if he gets on? Or do you want him stowed away somewhere in the middle of the lineup because you don't know, and then bring Bryce Terang up at the end to lead it off?
Well, I don't think you want Terang at the bottom, but I don't know necessarily that you want Ortiz there either. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird seeing like what Bryce has done, but yeah, no, when he comes home, you're definitely putting him near the top.
When he comes home. Not soon enough. They play again today, right, Josh? Team USA. They are in their pool play.
Yeah, still pool
They
play.
are against Mexico. Nope. Yeah, against Mexico in Houston tonight, 7 o'clock on Fox. The actual Brewers played this weekend as well and brought home a couple W's, which matters when they win in spring training. Remember, we have that established. Doesn't matter if they lose. 7-1 on Saturday. Brandon Woodruff made his spring debut. 2 scoreless innings for Big Woo, 3 strikeouts. His fastball comes in 92, 93 right now. I called him Big Woo, but apparently that may change this season, according to Chad Patrick.
Chad, looking ahead to tomorrow, Woody gets out there in a game for the first time. You've had a front row seat the last 2 years. What does he mean to this group?
Yeah, Woodruff is the dad, or Unk.
Unk.
Wait a minute. Unk. So the dad is what he said.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or
tell me
the
you're
Unk
old
meaning
telling me you're
uncle.
old. Right. Unk. Woody wasn't quite up to speed on that. Here are his thoughts.
Respond to Chad Patrick calling you Unk.
He said you were gonna ask that. I didn't really know what that meant until somebody sent me I think Schauger sent me the tweet, because I don't get on Twitter, And then when he said it, I just laughed. I was like, I didn't even really know what it meant. So then I had to learn what the Unk phrase meant. And you know what? It's kind of, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a rite of passage. I'm kind of getting to that point in my career, and I don't feel 33. I don't feel like I'm 8 years older than these guys. You know what I mean? So, or whatever it is, 6 years older. I just like having fun. I try to be a good teammate. I try to listen and learn. I try to help and have fun while doing it. And I probably give them a lot of crap in the meantime, but it's all from a good place. So if Unk is the term, then I'll take it.
What do you make of the fact?
There you go.
Jeez, 33. They made him sound like he's 43.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like a 6 to 8 year difference in baseball terms, that might be like the equivalent to a 15, 20 year difference.
Is Clayton Kershaw playing in the World Baseball Classic?
I think so. Yeah.
That guy's old.
Yeah. So they call him Gramps, maybe? Right?
Maybe that qualifies. All right. That works. Anyway, good stuff for the Brewers. Good to see those guys play well over the weekend. Woody back in the mound. Andrew Vaughn with a solo home run. Jesus Mate. Cooper Pratt looked good. Then we saw yesterday. We don't have audio from it because that's just how spring training works. But I wondered how Tommy's doing the second he leaves Arizona. Jake Bauers hits a dinger.
Yep. He goes yard. Man, isn't that kind of all you wanted for Tommy was to be able to witness that?
Pretty much.
Although it's probably good it didn't happen because Tommy would have like ran on the field, like less security, you know, he would have been just hogging him at home plate.
Who is this guy? Oh, hey, Tommy. What's up? All right. So some victories for the Packers, some good dubs for the Brewers and Team USA. The winning ways continue with Wisconsin.
Badgers.
What a win by Bucky. We called it, Josh.
Yep.
They play up to their competition. Unfortunately, they also play down to their competition, but a 97-93 road win over number 15 Purdue there at Mackey Arena, and 18 threes for the Badgers. Here's the final call.
This is Smith, and it is over. The Wisconsin Badgers come into enemy territory and knock off the Boilermakers on senior day here in West Lafayette. And you can make it 4 straight wins against ranked competition for the Badgers.
That's pretty bonkers. If you look at the way the Big Ten shook out this year, Josh, all of the top ones that are ranked for the most part, the Badgers took out this year. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's made it so difficult to want to doubt them, because if you can beat these teams that you know are going to make noise in the tournament, you're going, Wisconsin's going to be one of those teams also making noise. And so I'm just hoping they're losing to teams that they're not going to see in the tournament, right? And as embarrassing as those losses were, if you're not seeing those teams in the tournament, maybe that's better. You know, keep beating the top 10 teams all the way to a championship. Who knows?
The Big Ten tournament kicks off tomorrow, the United Center in Chicago. The Badgers don't play till Thursday. They're the number 5 seed. They will play the winner of USC and Washington. So good news, bad news there. A really great victory against Washington after laying an egg against Oregon in their West Coast trip.
Mm-hmm.
But a tough loss against USC earlier in the year. We might remember Brad Davison jumping on when we were chatting with Mike Heller. Had a little, all right, yeah, that one got away from us. Mike, I remember, USC is what it was. But nonetheless, good to see that the Badgers are hopefully peaking at the right time. I mean, that's just been a really weird season. High highs and really low lows. Hopefully they can make some noise in the Big Ten tournament and go into the NCAA tournament on a bit of a high this time around. Packers got it. Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. So the problem with the Bucks is that they play really well, and then they get your hopes up.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited.
Mm-hmm.
And when they win, this is what it sounds like.
Great all-around game for the Milwaukee Bucks, something that they need to continue to file away, that this is who they can be.
4-game losing skid is now gone. The Deer Dub is back for the Milwaukee Bucks. 113-99 the final.
Woo! awesome. I was there for that one with my family. We had
Yeah.
a great Milwaukee weekend on Saturday. That was awesome. Not so much yesterday.
A few moments later.
Yeah, right. Magic 130, Bucks 91. So they got the big dub against the Jazz. Giannis played 27 points in 27 minutes. He was a little annoyed when he got pulled out. I believe it was just before halftime, if memory serves me right. He does not appreciate the pitch clock that he's on, which must have really went well when they completely sat him last night.
Yeah. I'm
what did
sure
you
he
see,
hated
Josh?
it.
It was something about a calf. What was the?
Yeah, it
you
was.
read a term
They
that I
said like
thought was-
management, like calf strain management, like
What does that even
not an
mean?
injury. Essentially, like they're just saying it's designating it as we're being cautious and this is load managing.
Yeah, well, he's not exactly excited about that anymore.
No, which makes sense.
He just wants to play. The Bucs season just continues to be what it is. Next up Tuesday, that's tomorrow, versus the Phoenix Suns there at the Fiserv. It was cool to be in the building. The Bucs do a really great job with the production. As a matter of fact, my youngest son, who I've noted on this show many a time, is not a huge sports fan. He's like, Dad, the atmosphere at these games is awesome. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I'm trying to get you.
Yeah, it's the NBA. This is as big as the sport goes, bud.
Welcome, bud. This is what it's at. He loved the Marquette game too, which, anything else?
Anything else?
For sure. Marquette with a big dub. Look at this. Bucks get a win. Marquette gets a
Crazy.
win. Badgers get a win. Packers kind of win, depending on who you ask. Badgers win. Brewers win. Marquette wins. Here's the final call of that.
Congratulations, Marquette, on a signature win to conclude what has been a very difficult season.
Yep, that's very well put.
Understatement. Thank you. That was a really great atmosphere, though. Marquette does it right. Mike Jakubowski,
love
who
him.
we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Phenomenal at his job at Marquette. My favorite part, though, of the game was when Dan Hurley absolutely lost his mind. Well, pause. Dan Hurley lost his mind pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
Marquette over UConn. UConn not so excited. Dan Hurley not even close to excited. We talked about how much Doug Gottlieb got in trouble for having a crash out, and we'll get to their game here in just a second. Dan Hurley crashed out the entire game and then thought it was a good idea to bump the referee with his chest. He got tossed. This is what that sounded like.
Did we get a tee?
Danny Hurley just got thrown out of the
Danny
game.
Hurley just got turned away. A technical called by Gaffney as Hurley left the bench. That will secure the win, and the crowd knows it.
Oh, he left the bench all right.
Yeah.
Chest bumped an official, and then after the game came back and was like, I don't know if I bumped him or not. This isn't my first rodeo.
I think it was.
Dude's absolutely, allegedly crazy. There was a moment in the game where you didn't even care the basketball was happening. You just sat and watched Dan Hurley lose his gourd. Nonetheless, excited for Shaka Smart and the Marquette Golden Eagles to go out like that in what was indeed a really tough season for Marquette. What was that?
We don't have the if you're wondering how UWGB played and hearing the Doug Gottlieb audio, we're gonna have to do that on the other side.
Okay, meaning we got to take a break. All right, we'll do that in just a bit. Plus, I have questions. We'll continue the weekend in review. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Good morning, Wisconsin. Happy Monday. NFL free agency begins today after a busy weekend for the Packers. Find out what Jacob Westendorf of SI thinks is still needed for the Pack this morning at 10. He joins 9 to noon with John Kuhn, Rami Makloff, served up by Yingling on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht inside Wisconsin Sports. I'm in Indy. Josh is in Milwaukee. We are statewide on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Good morning to all of you in Wausau, in Duluth Superior, in Green Bay, and in Milwaukee. Happy first Monday after springing forward, which let's just give each other a little grace today, shall we?
Yeah, we might all need it.
This is the tough one. This is the tough one. Daylight savings time started. I don't ever know how this goes.
I don't know either.
I think it started.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I have questions about this. You know what? This is perfect timing. Let's get to I have questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question. Can you fly this plane and land it? Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Text us, call us. You have questions, we have answers, except for this one. I don't get it. And I understand it's easy this time of year to go, why do we do this daylight savings time thing? I've had the argument with friends and family for years. Would you rather have light in the morning versus light at night? Coming from two dudes that wake up at 4 a.m. or 4:30 or whatever time. Like, I want light in the morning. I don't care much for light at night, especially when I'm trying to go to sleep. This will be the first summer, Josh, that I have done a morning radio show like this and try to go to bed when it's beautiful outside at 9 p.m. How do you do this all summer long?
Yeah, the thing is that you're just as tired either way. For me, at least, it doesn't matter if you're falling back or springing ahead. And that's why I just wish there was no daylight savings time, because then we go back. I wish it was always like it is right now. This wouldn't suck if we didn't also fall back. Just don't fall back, and then I'd be used to this.
But I think if you don't fall back, then there's some times in the winter where the sun doesn't come up till like 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And for kids in school, I don't think that works either. Lose, pretty much. There's a lot of people that can go with it. I lost 2 hours in one day somehow. I woke up on Sunday morning in Milwaukee after being in Milwaukee for Bowling with the Chumps, which we got to get to.
Yeah, absolutely.
A hugely successful event. We're still playing catch up from this morning. We went to the Marquette game and then the Bucks game, stayed overnight in Milwaukee, woke up yesterday morning, drove here to Indianapolis. So I lost an hour overnight Saturday night. Then I lost another hour going to the Eastern time zone. And then I had to, the math, dude, for me to try to figure out when I had to wake up and try to stay on some sort of clock, I'm not great at math.
Your internal clock is all over the place. So
tomorrow should be great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's more than just you looking at the actual time. Your internal clock is going, what is happening right now?
What are we doing? I have questions, and maybe you do too. 414-677-1250. The Nicolay Law talk and text line. The one thing that we got to get to that we didn't talk about in the morning rundown, if you will, the catch up amongst Bowling with the Chumps, is my beloved GB Phoenix. That's why I'm here in Indy. I drove down yesterday to be a part of their game in the Horizon League tournament against Northern Kentucky. And let's just say the Cinderella season, the comeback season, one of the greatest turnovers from year to year for any coach at any level. But Doug Gottlieb and the Green Bay Phoenix hit a buzzsaw with Northern Kentucky. I heard the stat last night when I was kind of down, maybe having a cocktail or two, reminiscing with some of the coaching staff. They, as in Northern Kentucky, didn't score for the first 8 minutes of the game, Josh. And then Green Bay lost by 20.
Yeah. Yeah. So was it more that they got hot or that GB just couldn't keep it together?
I asked Doug in the post game, amongst a few questions, what got them here that didn't show up today, and his answer was rebounding. He said that we were a fantastic defensive rebounding team, and unfortunately they just didn't have that yesterday. The opportunities that Northern Kentucky got on second chance points, as well as turnovers, that led to, significant amount of three-point shots. They could not miss for some time. The other thing, though, that GB couldn't quite figure out in the beginning was how to run with that lead. They were up 7-0, 9-2, 12-ish minutes left in the first half, but you would have thought they could have been up by 20 or 25, and it just wasn't the case. Green Bay women's play today. The Horizon League tournament continues here in Indianapolis. The number 1 seed Green Bay women's play this morning at 11 Central, 12 Eastern, against the number 5 seed, who I believe is Purdue Fort Wayne. So good matchups all around. March Madness is indeed here. So after the game yesterday, I was sitting in the press conference. Doug Gottlieb, Marcus Hall, Preston Riedinger, who was not well,
I'm sure,
after his final game.
Yeah.
Had his jersey off and kind of hanging around his head. Hard to see. And when I asked Doug, hey, man, I noticed in the second half that there was 4 of your 5 returners on the floor at once, along with Justin, the JUCO, or should say, JUCO/D3 transfer in. I asked him what that was like, knowing that there were 5 guys that came back that didn't need to come back, and what that meant to Doug. As you would imagine, a little emotional. Here's his response.
Look, last year was hard, man. Those 4 guys mean everything to me. They're like my little brother or sons, whatever. I told them, and I mean it, that whatever they need the rest of their life, I got them because they got my back. You know, it's the old military, I got your 6. And they took plenty of abuse online, in person. Nobody cared about us. The point is, we heard all of it. We absorbed all of it. And we just got in the gym and got better. And to answer your question, Trevor, it's amazing.
It was amazing. His answer was amazing. It was amazing to see those guys just kind of notice, Josh.
Yeah.
They could tell that this wasn't going to go the way they wanted. That is as defeated as I've seen the Phoenix all season. A tough way to end the season for them. But, hey, we're here in Indy. They're somewhere in this hotel waking up after a turnaround of epic proportions, which is just awesome for basketball all around. Yeah. Turnaround of epic proportions, dude. There's turnarounds, and then there's building on success. And bowling with the Chumps was about as successful as you could have ever dreamed it would be.
Yeah, I'm more than. And we're going to talk about it multiple times this morning because I want to make sure that everyone that listened and donated and came out and supported the cause knows exactly what we did. But we raised $20,000 for Sophia and her family, which is $5,000 more than we've done in the past at any Bowling with the Chumps. It was incredible, the amount of people that came out, had a great time. Again, special shout out to our boy Mike Heller, who came out and joined it. And you, Trevor, stopped by, and $1,300 between you and the people that saw the tweet and listened and put that together as well. Plus, you know, I had listeners that donated items that we put in the silent auction and the ticketed raffle portion of the event. And so it was just an incredible day. And just, I'm so grateful for all of the support of everyone that came out. Sparky was there. Thunder was there. My friend Chuck Arbedian was there. So many guys just showed up and showed support for a person they never met, which is just the coolest thing, is that you didn't know Sophia or her family personally. Some people did. A lot of people didn't. And it didn't matter. It was an awesome, awesome day.
All right. So based on that, then here's my question. Who won all of my booze? I put a lot of tickets in all of the booze.
There was a lot of booze.
There was one in particular that had an aging barrel.
Yes.
It was a bottle of bourbon. I think it was Elijah Craig.
It was an Elijah Craig small batch, yeah.
How did you mix the tickets up, Josh? I had.
When there were let me tell you, there were a lot of tickets for that one. That's part of it. For ticketed raffle events, part of it is knowing sometimes the most popular ones, just like any other lottery, it's your odds. If everyone's throwing them in comparison to ones that might only have 10 tickets in it, you don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is that room probably got packed after bowling, right? A lot of people went in there for the silent auctions and the bucket raffles. I would imagine that got hit hard after bowling was done. Correct?
Well, so we close it like with a few frames left in the third game. So before everyone's officially done bowling, the silent auction and the ticketed raffle portion are closed to make sure that people aren't.
But is there at least a wave towards the end of bowling?
Yeah. People wait, and then when I make the announcement,
guess whose tickets were all in the bottom of that,
and that's why.
day.
Yeah, and that's why. I don't know. I can talk to. There were people that showed up at the end, threw a bunch of money in, and they didn't win anything either. There were people that put all their money in the beginning. There were people that came 10 minutes after you and walked out with 3 things. It was all over the place. But I will tell you, a lot of people came away with a lot of amazing things that were all donated by people that just have the best hearts and being able to give that, hold that big check, that promotional check, right? I was like, the big check you can't actually take to a bank, but the one we use in photos that says $20,000 on it is insane. One day
nobody won more this weekend than Sophia. So good on you. Good on all the volunteers and all the people that came out to bowl and support the 5th annual Bowling with the Chumps there at New Berlin Ale House. A great event. It was awesome to see in person, and I'm sure there will be some video proof of the fun.
Yes.
Not long from now.
Yes, very true.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk-In text line. We'll get to a few of your questions on the Talk-In text line on this Monday morning, many of which revolve around being grumpy about the time change. Welcome on a Monday. Yay, us. It's not too bad. The sun's coming up here in Indy. I'll remind you of that tomorrow morning when I'm back on my regular time schedule and all messed up. The most electrifying sound of the day is next, plus your questions. We'll get to that. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
It's time for
The most electrifying
sound of the day
The most electrifying
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Whitlock gets to the line, puts it up for the win. It's good! The half-court heave sends Lehigh to the semis.
He's not going to give it up now. Final ticks, Major League Player of the Year, speeding in, gets the lay-in! Mins lead! BU chance back, Glenn! Go! Chance Glenn sends BU to the title game!
A couple of buzzer beaters for you. Thanks to CBS. On the calls are the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. So I'm all about March now. Like, I'm all in. Like, getting those buzzer beaters, especially that second one, which was all over social media in case you missed it, of Boston University over Navy, which was they were 27-6, number 1 seed. Didn't matter. They're out. And I love the controversy that comes with it. All of the people questioning, man, this is why, the tournament, like, for these smaller schools shouldn't matter, blah, blah, blah. That's March, baby. That's the madness of March. So, to this point, if I'm reading this right, 6 teams, 6 schools have punched their ticket so far.
Okay.
Queens in the ASUN. Yeah, of course, everyone was thinking about that. High Point in the Big South. Northern Iowa in Missouri Valley, which was a 6 seed, and they won 4 games in 4 days to win that one.
UNI.
Yes. Northern Iowa.
NIU.
UNI. University of Northern Iowa in the Missouri Valley. Then you had Long Island in the Northeast, Tennessee State in the Ohio Valley, and North Dakota State in the Summit League. That's who we have so far. But we have more coming this week. It's all like we're all in. It's conference tourney time. Obviously, sucked to see what happened with UWGB in the Horizon League, but man, is it awesome to just start seeing some of these memories, some of these moments happen in college basketball as we start to get the bracket together. And soon, a lot of the conferences that people are more familiar with will start their tournaments as well. And we'll start filling it in.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line. A couple questions from earlier, Josh. Many opinion, maybe more morning mind dump-ish about the time change. That's coming up at the top of the hour with a brand new partner presented by Malott Meats. We'll tell you all about them coming up at the top of the hour. Trevor's troll says Josh made sure Trevor didn't win the alcohol, so he knows he has a co-host on Mondays.
Oh.
Well, I didn't say I didn't win any alcohol.
That's true.
But
he did still
first
win.
Off, pause. I am not an alcoholic. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah, and he had
I
to
had
drive
3
a
Mondays off in a row, and it had nothing to do with alcohol. Good God. What'd you say?
I said, yeah, plus you had to drive a lot. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You had to drive all the way from the event to Indy.
Yeah, literally. Pretty much straight through. Not really. What did I win? Johnny Walker Black?
Yep. 2 tree bottles of that.
You're holding it ransom because of the stake bet that we haven't been able to figure out yet?
Yeah. Which I was like, all right, hey, Jeff Levering will be back soon. He'll be home. I'll get him there. Then you'll just have to make the nice trip down. That lovely drive that you're used to making now. It'll be good.
It's not bad. It's really not that bad for me to get down to Milwaukee. It's the drive home that's typically the problem. To Trevor's troll's point.
Yeah, there you go.
What other questions do we see here on the Talking Text Line, Josh?
Well, as you mentioned, a lot of people talking about the daylight savings time and talking about, just either they like it, they love it. I mean, that's flooding. Also want to give a thanks to Annie in Oconomowoc, who said, congrats on a successful event, Josh. Well done. I appreciate that as well. And there's a little bit of just getting into the morning mind dump. which, we want to hear your questions. We want to know what you need to get off your chest in the morning mind dump. But there's a good one here from the 920 that says, I have to get this off my chest. But if Miami of Ohio is a bubble team with a 31-0 record, and even if they do not win their conference tournament, there's no reason this team should be a bubble team for the tournament or be one of the last 4 in to play. I'm 100% with them. It's a terrible look if they do it. I hate that they're still having this conversation. I know that you don't know anything as, the selection committee until more pieces to the puzzle get filled. But, man, I'll tell you this. If they do run it and win their conference tourney too, they better get a damn good seed as well. It better not be that they're still a 14 or whatever it is.
Over under 10, though.
If they win out?
If they win out, over under 10 seed.
I'm going to say, like lower, like a lower seed. 9 or
like
lower.
Like an 11 or 12.
No, like 9 or lower.
9, 8, 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Going to be interesting. I'll take things that are broken in the NCAA for 500, Alex.
Yeah, correct.
That would be an absolute shame if they don't get in. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're back in just a bit.
It's time for your fan weather forecast brought to you by the Milwaukee Area Napa Auto Care Association. Sunny but windy conditions today with a high of 66 degrees. It's currently 47 degrees here in Milwaukee.
I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Audio courtesy of the Big Ten Network and Fox Sports. Big dubs for the Badgers and Marquette, among so many others this past weekend. It was a pretty good weekend for Wisconsin sports, and we have only just begun. Now that March is here, the legal tampering window is open in the NFL, or at least it's opening. Let's be real, it's been open for a minute. So much more to review as we begin our number 2. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I wake up this morning in Indianapolis here for the Horizon League tournament, which we were hoping was going to be a run for the University of Wisconsin Green Bay men's basketball team, but alas, they run into the buzzsaw that was the three-pointing barrage escapade that was Northern Kentucky yesterday. Well, the good news, though, for Wisconsin sports is so, too, is true for Purdue, who ran into a three-pointing barrage clinic put on by the Badgers over the weekend. Lots to catch up on and potentially lots to get off your chest. The all-new, now presented by Malat Meat Morning Mind Dump. Here we go.
Voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
The coffee is kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore. I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump, presented by Malat Meats. High-quality meats at a fair price, safely delivered to your front door. To learn more, visit WisconsinMeatMarket.com. Experience the power of the family meal with Malat Meats on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Malat Meats Morning Mind Dump on Inside Wisconsin Sports. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. I left that part out of the story last week, Josh.
Yeah.
About the losing the in-laws dog scenario that we had 24 hours long.
Yeah.
What I didn't tell you was that I was in the middle of making steaks from Malat Meats. At least I don't think I mentioned this part.
No, you didn't.
And I was reversed searing. You ever reverse sear a steak? You know what that is?
No.
Oh, try it tonight. You grab your favorite steak from Malott Meats, WisconsinMeatMarket.com. You pre-bake it in the oven to a temperature that is your desired temperature, one click down. This is the way I was taught. Then what you would typically do is go out in the garage or grab some sort of pan that you feel comfortable searing in your house. But I have a Blackstone, right? And so you heat up the Blackstone as hot as you can get it, and you sear the outside of the steak.
Sure.
To give it that really crispy, charred type of feel on the outside. Yeah, I did that in my house, which, by the way, best steaks I've ever had. I mean, seriously, the best steaks we've ever cooked at home. It was unbelievable. That's the good news.
Okay.
Bad news. Smoked the joint out.
Yeah.
Set off the smoke alarm, and then the
that's
dog,
frowned upon.
But it was so good. It was definitely frowned upon. But nonetheless, we're grateful for Malott Meats. Head to WisconsinMeatMarket.com. High quality, fair priced, amazing meat delivered to your front door. Experience the power of the family meal with Malott Meats. My apologies to Wisconsin for camping out here in downtown Indianapolis, apparently right next to a fire station. A lot of sirens in downtown America, unfortunately.
Hope everyone's
414-67. What's that?
I said, I hope everyone's okay.
I hope so, too. There's a lot going on. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What do you have to get off your chest and out of your head on this Monday morning, the day of the week that starts with this time change? So I know it was yesterday, and that's by design to give us all a Sunday to hate life. But then Monday morning comes and our alarms go off, and it's not what the clock says it is. It's not. Our body's like, no.
And you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's always the same weekend or how that all works with when it just kind of sneaks up on you. Half the time I don't even remember that it's happening. But and we talked about this during a break, that to run bowling with the chumps, I had to be in like such a zone, right? Like, so like just dialed up, really tense in it, that like a very big high, hard to come down from. And then the time change. And then I still don't feel like I've recovered. Like I need a weekend from the weekend.
You should be a peach tomorrow.
Oh, nope.
Tomorrow's going to be the day.
Really? I feel like today's the day.
Well, but you said you're still on a high. So regardless of the way you think today is, tomorrow, like, dude, you're going to crash at some point.
Yeah, but the high is like, when I say that, I mean like I still feel on edge. Like I'm, like if someone asks me a question, like I'm turning to answer it, like just like I had to be at the event, having to answer 1,000 questions. Hey, Josh, do you know where yeah, over here, going boom, 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 boom. Just need that.
Hey, Josh, do you know where the Bucks tickets are?
Yeah, I do. With the people who won them now. That was fun.
There was a moment. I happened to be there for a little while before my family had this awesome doubleheader of Marquette and Bucks basketball at the Fiserv Forum. But I hung out at Bowling with the Chumps for a little while on Saturday morning. So great to meet so many of you that came up and said hello. It was an amazingly well put together, well-oiled machine event for the greater good. An event for someone like Sophia who needed the $20,000, her and her family, that Josh and his team was able to raise. A few things of note, Josh, that I kind of put away in the old mental bank. Number one, you put on some steps on Saturday, my man. Did you happen to look?
No, I didn't. But I can tell you, I was sore. Like I've had body aches, and Julie was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like I just feel like when I need to stand up now at this point, like everything hurts. Does that mean like I'm super old? That's how it feels.
Well, wait till you hit 40.
No,
it really does change. Your team of people that supported that event, from Julie, your bride, on down to Jordy running around and managing the whole thing, and all of the volunteers and the people that had to have helped you sell tickets and organize those raffle prizes and check people in and count tickets out when people laid $50 or $100 or whatever it was to make sure all the numbers matched. The bartenders, I mean, I can only imagine how excited people were. Excited is the PC term for super happy afternoon drunk when they left Bowling with the Chumps, because that must have been an absolute blast. How was the final match? Did it come down to a final pin?
No, it did not. Shout out to Eric Thompson, who was our champion. He bowled an 800 series, the first 800 series we've ever had in qualifying. He almost had a 300, and then he crushed it as the number 1 seed in the stepladder final. I mean, it was just his day. Absolutely locked in, dialed.
What is a stepladder final?
So that's where like the top 4 bowlers, 4 versus 3. The winner of that goes to face second seed. Winner of that faces the number 1 seed in the championship.
Oh, you just automatically go to the championship if you're the one?
Yep.
Wow, that dude that had to go and play. Did the person that finished in the first step on the ladder go to the championship or no?
No, it was all chalk this year.
Oh, it was?
Yep. So, I mean, 4 and 3 actually both bowled 702 series. So they were tied, but then the one that moved on lost to the second seed, and then the second seed lost to the number 1 seed.
Josh, what's your favorite part of that event?
I mean, definitely at the end when we're giving the check to the family and just seeing like the work that was done. But I think besides that, probably like right after the first announcements when we get going, and then I get to go up and down the lanes with the bowlers because I don't bowl in the event, and just like say hi to everybody, because so many of these teams have been there since the beginning. And so it's almost just like a reunion of seeing these guys that, you know, care just as much as I do. And it's kind of like back to school after summer break.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law talk and text line. So that was definitely Josh's favorite part of the weekend.
Sure was.
But what was yours? Let us know what your favorite part of the weekend was. The good, the bad, and the ugly, by the way. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad, although it was still somewhere you were. But your thoughts on the Wisconsin sports weekend that was as we started Monday. There was a lot to take in this weekend from a Wisconsin sports perspective. Saturday was an absolute blast for my family and I. We went to the Marquette game with a huge victory for Marquette over UConn. What makes it huge? It's the best way possible to go out on a season that was as disappointing as it gets for the Marquette Golden Eagles men's basketball team. My thanks to the peeps at Marquette's athletic department for welcoming my family and I into the Fiserv. They are great people over there, Scott and the team alike. They put on one heck of a show. One of my favorite parts of that game, Josh, was when our guy, Mike Jakubowski, how do you say his last name?
Jakubowski.
That was close. When Dan Hurley was having his moment there at the end with 1 second left on the clock and going, I mean, absolutely berserk. Like somehow if he doesn't get suspended, I have more questions than we have time for in a 3-hour show, because he not only berated the officials the entire game. Remember what Doug said? It was demonstrative, cussing out of his box, something. Dan Hurley lives that life. That's how he coaches every single game he coaches in. At the end, when they went to make a drive to tie the game and make sure that this wasn't going to be the way it turned out for UConn, they didn't call a foul, and he literally chest bumped a ref. And the crowd went nuts.
Of course.
Little did we know, in that very moment, it was an automatic double technical foul, and he was ejected from the game. Mike Jakubowski, when all of it was figured out and the crowd was going crazy, took the opportunity to go, may I have your attention, please? As if there was like an emergency announcement.
Yeah.
And that's how he told Fiserv that he was getting ejected. It was unbelievable.
That's so awesome.
There's been a double technical foul on the UConn bench. and you could just, that was as Hurley was walking off the court into the locker room.
And the crowd's already losing their mind prior to.
But he got their attention. The place went all but quiet. Then he announces that. Then he erupts for a completely different reason. An awesome way to experience a senior day for Marquette.
So tell me, so then after Marquette, because then I'm assuming you had to leave, right? They kick you out. Right.
Oh,
How long was your break before you went back in Pfizer for the Bucks game?
So not terribly long. We thought it was going to be longer than it actually felt. We had 2 cars down there because I drove from Milwaukee yesterday morning to Indianapolis here. And my family drove down separately because they had to go back then Saturday night. And I went to Chumps and so on. So after the game, we walked from Fiserv to Major Goolsby's.
Yep.
Every time I've been to a game, I'm not kidding, Josh, from when I was a kid on, if I'm going to a game at Fiserv or back then the Bradley Center, I always go to Major Goolsby's. Always. Yeah. It's just a spot that I love to hit. And you sit down in there, and it's filled with Marquette fans, and they're obviously excited with the way that game went to end the season. And then we walked back to our vehicle, grabbed my Jeep, and drove it over to where I was staying at the Marriott down by the Pfister. Parked there in the valet, which pause. I have a stick shift Jeep. The same thing happened to me here in Indianapolis. Valet today really struggled to drive a stick shift vehicle.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that you can do valet.
Well, I did it twice, but in Milwaukee, props to the guy at the Marriott who was the one that knew how to drive stick. He's like, oh, man, I love that thing. That was great. Got here to Indy, had to park my own vehicle in valet.
Some valet.
And I may have asked the guy if he was going to tip me. Was that wrong?
Ooh.
I wasn't serious. We had a good giggle about it, but I was like, wow, valet your own car, man. None of us can drive it. Okay. At least they showed me where to park. But the break in between there wasn't terribly long. Maybe 2.5, 3 hours, enough for a quick 20-minute power nap. We got settled into the hotel, and then it was a change of clothes and walking from
back.
the Marriott to the Fiserv, which that is one of the first times in a long time that I've walked the city of Milwaukee in the downtown area. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, they've done a ton, especially in that area. You know, and that's what we talk about when we say like the Deer District and Giannis and like what that team brought. It literally brought people back to that area of downtown. And they have a new music venue right there now. Like things are popping up. It's great. It's absolutely great.
The Live Nation piece. So, Josh, have you ever been to a conference tournament in March Madness?
Just when
Big
I was in
10,
school.
Big East, Horizon League?
No, just in the Missouri Valley. We went for Arch Madness is what they call it when Wichita State was in the Missouri Valley. They're in the American now. But that was the only time when I was going to school down there. That was it. Yeah.
Pretty different.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Indianapolis for the Horizon League tournament, I arrived yesterday in time to have a beverage with some friends from Green Bay who were at a little pregame gathering, and then off to the Cortiva Coliseum at the Indianapolis County State Fairgrounds, Indiana State Fairgrounds, I'm guessing. You walk in there and you feel the energy. But here's the one thing that I got to get off my chest in this morning's morning mind dump presented by Malat Meats. It's empty. There was a ton of fans from Green Bay, alike from Northern Kentucky, but the vast majority of those seats are completely empty.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get it. Why does it have to be that way where teams that are this early on, 5 teams left in the Horizon League, can't they have the championship in one spot and invite all their fans to that? Do you know how difficult it is for a fan to plan to come to a game like this?
Oh, yeah.
I'm booked in this hotel for last night only. If they would have won, tough loss for Green Bay against Northern Kentucky, ended up losing by 20 yesterday in the Horizon League tournament, I would have had to somehow land another hotel room for tonight. And who knows if this hotel is full, because not only is the men's tournament here, but the women's tournament is also here. And I believe there's something going on at the Gainbridge this week. Maybe it's the Big Ten women's tournament. I know the tournaments shuffle from city to city. Learned that last night. And so there's a lot going on in Indianapolis, and hotel rooms are few and far between. But that's difficult for a fan. How do you take off of work? Like, let's just hypothetically say, and I know Jeff and Katie from Luxembourg are down here as well. Let's just say you took off through Wednesday because you had to plan for your team possibly playing in the finals on Tuesday night in the championship game to punch their ticket. So now you're in Indianapolis on Sunday for the game, but you potentially need to take off of work through Wednesday. But you don't know if your team's going to make it past yesterday. Well, bad news, they didn't. And so after we do the show, I'm going to pack up and drive back. And I don't have a hotel room for tonight, but so many people do. Why does it have to be that way?
Money.
Why can't we figure out at least? Well, but they're not selling tickets. I mean,
right,
these
sponsorships though, right? Like
but even then, the mid-major colleges can do something different. I understand the big schools, right? The Marquette's headed out to New York for the Big East tournament. At least I think that's where it is. Is it Madison Square Garden?
It
was last
been,
year.
yeah.
Do they?
It has been forever.
Obviously, United Center in the Big Ten tournament and the Badgers on Thursday. And that's close enough where the majority of people can drive. And it's not like this was a terrible drive to Indy. It was only 6 hours from Green Bay, 4 hours from Milwaukee, which was kind of nice yesterday morning. But it's just hard, and it doesn't need to be this way. There was literally hardly any fans there. Maybe today will be different. There's 2 sessions today, the women's session this morning, the men's session at night. I love to stick around. It just makes my life horribly difficult.
Yeah.
We're leaving for spring break on Friday. Like, imagine that, Josh. I would have been here through Wednesday, had Green Bay gone all the way to Tuesday. Do the show Wednesday morning, drive back, and we leave for Gatlinburg, Tennessee on Friday, driving right back through where I'm literally sitting as we speak.
The thing is that if you want to follow your college basketball team at any point, though, that's how it is. Like, even if you know your team's making the tournament, you don't know in what city it's going to be until Selection Sunday. And then, depending on how far they make it, you're trying to book and plan and do everything then. And then, even if your team goes to the Final Four, if you want to see them on the championship game, you're not seeing that even the next day. So there's a lot.
But don't you think the big tournament's different? I mean, comparing the NCAA tournament to the mid-major. I think so.
Let's say that Marquette was a big team. Like, they were having a great year. Okay, you know you're going to Madison Square Garden, but if they lose, it's not then are you going to be like, all right, cool. Well, I still have tickets to go to see the Big East tournament for the next day, so I guess I'll go watch not my team play. I just
think it's different at that level. Maybe it's just me. I just think for all that mid-major sports in college athletics are up against, there's got to be a better way than having teams like this travel to Indy with hardly any fans, hundreds of fans instead of thousands. I just think that they can do better. Whether it's they got to go to a game the higher seed has up until the championship, I don't know. It just didn't make a bunch of sense. And I think this isn't the only situation in mid-major basketball where you would run into this, but it was tough to watch yesterday. I mean, I'm sitting at the press row, completely impartial.
Mm-hmm.
I had to cover my mouth. I literally covered my mouth. I sat there like, don't
say anything. Yeah.
Don't clap. Don't anything. Hard to watch though. There's a lot of empty seats. I just think they can do better. That's my only morning mind dump for this morning. Look at Scotty Tiffany.
Yeah. Go ahead.
See that? You can read that one.
Yeah, Scott Tiffany said, great weekend overall, but the highlight was definitely Bowling with the Chumps, an awesome event, and Josh did a fantastic job running it. Thank you, Scott Tiffany. It was great seeing you there as well. But, I mean, I'm excited. Next segment, we're going to get into the Big Ten tournament and the thoughts on the Badgers, because that's kind of part of it, though, is that, like, it's madness for the teams, it's madness for the fans, it's madness for everyone. Like, you don't know. You don't know where you're going to be. The one thing, to your point, talking about your morning mind dump, I do wish that the schools, like no matter where the school is at, like putting something together to send fans, get some buses, do something. They're college kids. They don't need the best, environment in the world. They can make it work. But getting the fans there, I think, is important, or the students there is important, because they're the ones that are going to be the loudest anyway.
Our thanks to Malat Meats for now sponsoring the Morning Mind Dump. High-quality meats at a fair price delivered safely to your front door. To learn more, visit WisconsinMeatMarket.com. Experience the power of the family meal with Malat Meats. When we come back, we will preview that Big Ten tournament. Brad Davison jumps on with us tomorrow. We'll do our best to get educated today on what Bucky may be up against. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. NFL free agency begins today, finger quotes, after a busy weekend for the Packers. Find out what Jacob Westendorf of SI thinks is still needed this morning when he joins 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff, served up by Yingling, 10 a.m. here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor and Josh inside Wisconsin Sports, previewing the Big Ten tournament. The bracket is out. Bucky is the 5th seed. We'll go in depth about this tomorrow when our guy Brad Davison is scheduled to join us from Wisconsin basketball. But Josh, just taking a look at this, it really is in Wisconsin's favor. The Washington USC game that happens on Wednesday on Peacock, it's 25 minutes after Game 3. So we're in Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, Game 6 season where they don't know when these games are going to start because it all depends on how the games before it shake out.
Sure.
But Game 3 that morning between Iowa and whoever wins with Maryland and Oregon is scheduled for 11 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday. The USC-Washington game is after that. It's the winner of that one that goes on Thursday to play Wisconsin, which falls 25 minutes after the first game that starts at what I believe is 11 a.m. that morning as well. So if you break this down from Wisconsin perspective, they really should have beat USC earlier in the season. They trounced Washington when they went out west and had that West Coast trip after the embarrassing loss against Oregon. And if Wisconsin wins that game on Thursday, they go on to the quarterfinals on Friday and play Illinois. Upon further review, and according to all the stats from over the weekend, with Wisconsin having multiple wins, 4 against top-seeded teams, remember, February 10th, Wisconsin beat Illinois at Illinois 92-90. And, of course, we know that Wisconsin is a big victory over Michigan earlier in the year. And the same can be true against Wisconsin and Michigan State. Not so much Nebraska, got thumped by them earlier in the season, but 3 out of the top 4 teams in the Big Ten tournament, Wisconsin, Josh, has victories over.
Yeah, it's true. And the Big Ten tournament, first of all, doesn't start today. There are 14 conference tournament games that play today across different across different conferences. One of those not being the Big Ten. However, just so then Big Ten starts on Tuesday, and USC or Washington is going to be their opponent. Then if they win that game against either USC or Washington, then they're going up against Illinois. And then more than likely at that point, they would end up taking on Michigan, which in most cases, you would look at this and go, oh boy, I don't know how that's going to go. But you saw Wisconsin beat, to your point, those teams. You saw them go up and beat top 10 teams through the season. That should make Badgers fans ecstatic to see, like, okay, is this truly what it is when we talk about a team that just plays to that level of competition and beats the best competition? If they continue to do that in the Big Ten tournament, does that not just make you feel incredible going in to the big tournament, into the big dance? It would for me.
So that's the hard part about looking at the Big Ten tournament, though, in comparison to the big one. Because, if they continue to play against these top-seeded teams the way they have this year, coming off of another huge win against Purdue this past weekend, the problem is when they play the teams that aren't.
Yeah, but that would literally only be the game on Wednesday, on the 12th.
I'm not talking about the Big Ten tournament now.
Oh, you're talking about
you compared the Big Ten tournament to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
The hard part about that is we don't know which Badgers team is going to show up.
Sure. However, we are kind of in agreement at this point that, like, let's say that they win the whole Big Ten tournament. How much do you, or lose? Like take the extreme both ends. Where do you think that ends up putting them on the seed line? Like, I think it's somewhere between 7 and 10. Like, I think that's where they're living as a 7, 8, 9, or 10 seed. So, like, there's still a good chance that they're either going to be a dog in that, or that it's going to be in a matchup that's very even. I don't think there's going to be an opportunity for a 5-12 upset for them. I don't see them getting a 5 seed. I don't see them making that big of a push. Anything that I've seen in bracketology from the people that get paid to study it, I just don't see that regardless of how they do in the Big Ten tournament. So that's what I'm saying. Of if you were worried about seeing a Badger team again that was going to be a letdown in the Big Ten, in the NCAA tournament, I don't think that they're going to have that opportunity. I think they're either going to be a team that goes above and does what they've done all season in beating the team that's supposed to win, or it's going to be a very, very close matchup.
March.
Yep.
Nobody knows. I think we might have a guest here momentarily. Josh, let's take a break. I just got a text message from a particular head coach that's in the same hotel that I am. When we come back, possibly joining us, head coach of the Green Bay Phoenix, Doug Gottlieb. I'll track him down and open my hotel room.
Let's see how this goes.
Yep. All right. Back in a bit, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Stay here. Yep. He goes, where are you at? I'm in, not doing anything right now. Okay. I got a headset all set up for him, thinking it might happen. How the hell are we going to get him on video is the question. He might have to stand behind me. There's no chair. No, I know. There's no chair, though. That's the weird part. Right. I'll just do it like this, and he can sit next to me right here. All right, be right back. I gotta open my door. I got you now, yeah. Hang on. Now this headset's not working. Hang on. Possibly. Stand by. Why isn't that working? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Oh, it's really low. Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh is live in Milwaukee. I am live in Indianapolis for the Horizon League tournament, joined now on the Wisconsin Sport Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. It just happens to look like a headset sitting right next to me. Head coach of the Green Bay Phoenix men's basketball team, Doug Gottlieb. DG, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm good. Tired, but good.
Yeah, did you not sleep well last night, I'm guessing?
No, I'm bummed. I don't think we played our best. And I want to get into it if you want to get into it. But, I just tired.
Well, yeah, we want to get into it. I mean, we have about 12 minutes before we have a hard out, and we're definitely going to talk to you on Wednesday morning, hopefully, 8 a.m., like so many people want to hear from you. But it's nice to get to pop up to the room and just kind of break it down. So a buzzsaw that was Northern Kentucky and a 3-point barrage, but we talked about it in the presser afterwards. The rebounding just didn't follow you here to Indy.
Well, there's layers to it. I thought we came out and we were in a good place defensively. The first thing is, again, this is in no way an excuse, just a reality of what you're trying to kind of figure out is Preston Runger didn't practice since the game the other day because he tweaked his back lifting. It was the next day or the day after or whatever, but we gave him a day off. And then when they came back, his back locked up, something nasty. So he hadn't practiced. So part of it is we didn't really know even into game time. I mean, I knew he'd play. I just didn't know how he'd look or how he'd play. And I felt like to start the game, we were doing a good job defensively. And they were into their zone, into a switching man. We got a little stagnant. And what usually breaks us off of that being stagnant is he gets them kind of moving. And, I was contemplating calling an early timeout, but we were playing well defensively, and I didn't want the guy on the other sideline to figure out what they weren't doing because he's really good out of a timeout. Matter of fact, that's how they scored to kind of get going was out of 2 timeouts. He had 2 ATOs he scored on, and it was based upon kind of tricking us with our coverage. So I was just kind of, hey, let's kind of get the engine moving here. And really when I subbed Ramel in and I subbed Vuk at the same time, the offense got moving better, but they got loose a little bit and their big started to score. And look, we walked in with the reality. We think LJ Wells is the best big guy in the league.
Yeah. Dude can dunk. My God.
Well, not just that, but we scouted him, sat on his left hand and saw the percentage of times he drove left, and yesterday he drove right. He showed that he's a good player. He'd missed a bunch of free throws. The last couple games, they were up, I think, 20 against Wright State and lost, up 19 against Wright State and lost, up like 20 against Oakland and held on. And he'd missed some pressure free throws, but he made all his free throws yesterday. And we just didn't have necessarily an answer there for either of their 2 bigs. And then the other kid, the Kiwi, he got going. He hit 2 threes on OB plays. And Marcus was late, but it wasn't like we didn't guard it. We didn't scout it. He just jumped up and knocked him down over a 6'7" player who was in his space. So they got going. And by the time we kind of got our offense working, the math didn't work. If they're going to hit 14 threes and we hit 4. And as you said, the rebounding advantage was we just could not. And it wasn't just the big guys, and there wasn't really a true answer there because, when I went to Bethea, I felt like he didn't really help us defensively or on the boards. We went to Vuk. I thought Vuk helped us some, but we need shooting. We need space for what we're doing offensively, and he doesn't provide that. So, in hindsight, could I gone to kind of a 3 big look and played Marcus more at the 3 offensively? Yes. But again, we were, we depend so much upon CJ and he's so productive for us. Okay, well then if I take him out, I leave him in. Okay, now I got to take Justin out, and Justin's our one guy who can really create his own shot.
Yeah.
Although we were missing shots at the rim. So, I mean, it's really sad and sucks, but it's true. All of our losses that end up being 20 plus kind of look the same, right? Where we're a little stale offensively. We miss some early bunnies. And then all of a sudden the 3-point barrage takes place when we're not rebounding and we miss a ton of layups. And again, the way in which we play, we have to get to the free throw line. We have to make layups. We have to win the battle of the boards because we just don't have the weaponry to shoot that many threes, nor do we really want to live that way. But based upon how we're playing. So they outplayed us and probably outcoached us, not prepared us. And it just sucks considering how many good things have come of what we've done so far.
I mean, obviously, Doug, a lot of great things happened this season, and those will be celebrated for a while. But can you tell us just kind of what was the conversation after the game and maybe even later that night just with you and the team and what all took
We haven't
place?
talked later that night. Full disclosure, we have an opportunity to play in the CBI. We got to figure out if we're going to be healthy enough to do it, mostly with Rudy. And, we want to do it if everyone wants to do it, So I want to circle back to that today or tomorrow. If he's not healthy, we're not doing it. It's just really that simple.
Oh, yeah?
Huh?
If Rudy's not healthy?
No, I'm not doing it.
Huh.
I'm not. It's his team. It's about him. And, oh, yeah, by the way, we're not very good when he doesn't play. We're not spending all that money to go down there and get mollywopped.
Okay.
No thanks.
But what was the combo last night?
Yeah, I mean, I just go around the room and I talk about each guy and how much I appreciate them. That's all. I appreciate everything they poured in. The guys that haven't played have had a great attitude. We've had 0 off the court issues, 0 academic issues. The only thing we get is guys that are bummed that they're not playing more or playing at all, which I completely understand. So I'm just appreciative of this group, of the guys that played, especially bought in, which, by the way, was why we played then to begin with, right? The more you buy in, the more you play, the more you play, the more you buy in. And just, appreciation and gratitude and an understanding for the guys that didn't play of what it takes. And the young guys that are coming back, this is what it looks like at the highest level of Horizon League basketball. And, if you want to play, you have to be able to compete at that level with that level of athleticism and contain the basketball, pressure the basketball, rebound the basketball. You do those things and, you'll play here and you'll have a great time. And so it was full with gratitude and respect and understanding, but also just like as a coach, I have to learn from every game and every practice. Guys got to learn. What's the point of being here if you don't play, if you don't learn, take something from it. So that's really the kind of the message.
Doug Gottlieb, the head coach of the University of Wisconsin Green Bay men's basketball team, live here from Indianapolis at the Horizon League tournament. Lost a tough one yesterday against Northern Kentucky, and the season comes to an end. But what a season, man. And so how do you build now? Here it is, the first day of the offseason, unfortunately, and here we are building already for next year. So where do you take the success of this year and build on top of it now as you continue to build this program into something that it hasn't been for some time?
Well, the first thing is you got to figure out who's coming back and, in all candor, what that looks like.
How do you do that?
You have exit meetings and you have honest conversations and, you have to also have meetings with your staff. Who do we want back? Who do we want to pursue? How much are we willing to pay for these guys to come back? I mean, these are all real conversations you have to have. So that's the first thing.
Sure.
Most important recruits are the ones on campus. So, quite obviously, I think it goes without saying we know who we want back for sure. We have, I like our recruiting class and we're going to add to it very likely. So we've signed Amir Carson, who is a scoring guard, can play the point, can play the 2, out of Odessa Community College. He's originally from Chicago. He's not Rudy, but he is a super processor. He watches every game and asks what different things we're doing are called. And he literally he texted me last night, Coach, can I come to GB and work out with you guys this week? I'm like, no, that's actually not legal, but we'd love to have you.
Actually, we cannot do that. Yeah.
Yes. And then, we added Henry Grutzmacher and from Brookfield Central and MJ Koski, who's at Wauwatosa West. And both had great years. Wauwatosa West still playing. Hank just lost. And we added a big kid from, I forget the junior college in Texas. I'll think of Clarendon Junior College, who's actually from Montenegro, like Marouan Cicic, only he's actually bigger. And when you think, I've never seen a human, Mo is a gigantic human being. This kid is actually bigger, but we felt like we did Mo a little bit of a disservice where he's going against Ramel every day, not going against a sort of like-sized body. So he's not used to playing against big guys. So he gets into a game, and you're like, dude, you got to throw your weight around. And he hasn't, if he does it against Ramel goes flying off into the distance.
Mo back?
I don't know. Again, discussions that have to be had. Everybody's going to improve more from year 1 to year 2 than any other year in their career. He went through a wild kind of up and down freshman year, starting to not playing to helping us out at the bench to it just wasn't a good matchup for him yesterday. Maybe I should have looked at it because we were getting out rebounded so poorly, but I just didn't think he had the foot speed to guard LJ Wells. And it's really, really hard with their bigs as athletic as they are.
We got about a minute and a half left. Doug Gottlieb, men's basketball head coach, Green Bay. DG,
do I have to go? I mean, I like you guys got something else.
We do, but we're going to have you on Wednesday, 8 a.m.
Sure.
Wednesday morning.
Sure.
I mean, you can hang out.
Well, buddy, I was up at 6 a.m. I don't know where you were.
I've been here. All you have to do is text me.
Well, I didn't know if you were.
I'm literally 5 doors down, 10 doors down.
You're on the same floor?
You're 3 doors down?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
3 doors down?
One headline.
Okay. That's why we're going to wrap it up, I think.
I don't think that's them.
You got a minute.
That's the red, right? Is that the Wallflowers?
That's not 3 doors
I think
down.
it's the Wallflowers. I think I heard Wallflowers in my car the other day, and I was like, I haven't heard this song since college. This is a jam.
Oh.
We're going to keep the Wednesday thing going, I hope.
Yeah, we keep the Wednesday thing going.
I like it. There's a lot of people that listen to this.
Real quick. If you want to go, you got a heart out.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, again, I appreciate you guys. And this is not the last time we're going to be in Indianapolis. Like, it's not. But it was cool. But it's the beginning of something, not the end of something. And, give us time. Let us work. Support us the best you can. We'll figure out if we're going to what the CBI looks like. But more than anything, the GB community has been insanely. It is Wallflowers, right?
Yeah, it is. It's Wallflowers.
Somebody's son,
not 3 doors down.
Somebody's son is on is like a famous musician's son is a musician with the Wallflowers. Somebody put his on the text line what that is. I forget who it is. Cool song, one-hit wonder. And to anybody who says there's something against one-hit wonders, how many hits do you have?
I don't know, but if we hit this hard out, I will be shocked. We're back in a bit. Inside Wisconsin Sports. Peace. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to go along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
It's a bit of a head scratcher for me. You had a rotational defensive end that you traded away on a cheap contract, and you took back Franklin on a $7+ million deal this year. That's not an insignificant amount of money for a team that's still, pretty tight up against the cap. That to me is like all of it together just is weird. I think they gave up, quite frankly, the better player in Colby Wooden. I think they had to take on the salary. If you would have told me this, if you would have said that they had to take on the $7 million salary from Zaire Franklin and they gave up Colby Wooden, I would have said, well, clearly the Colts sent like a 5th or 6th round pick to take on that salary as well.
Oh boy, that didn't sound great. We'll get more details on that and more in just a minute here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. I'm Josh. If you're watching us on YouTube or X right now, you're seeing just me. And I'll tell you, behind the scenes is Trevor Thomas with his hands on his hips going, all right, what the heck is going on? He's trying to figure out. I'm going to say it's a Doug Gottlieb sabotage. That's what I'm going to say what's going on in the room right now. But very, very happy to have all of you with us here for the 8 a.m. hour of Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and welcoming now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all, is our friend Andy Herman. Hi, Andy. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. It's been far too long. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, buddy. Well, I'm doing great. Trevor's trying to figure out what's going on with his equipment. He's in Indy. He was there for the UWGB game, which did not go well.
It did not.
But that's okay. I don't want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about what's all going on with the Packers, because a lot of things happened, Andy. And Trevor and I both said it. We were like, all right, we gotta have Andy on to just kind of dissect all of these things, because there have been a lot of things happening. So let's just start with Sean Rhyan. Just start there. He gets brought back technically, right? What were your initial thoughts on that decision from the Packers?
Yeah, so a couple things. First of all, we kind of knew the power six of free agents that were available from Green Bay. We know Rasheed Walker, Malik Willis, Romeo Doubs, Sean Rhyan, Kingsley Enagbare, etc. We know all the ones that were available. From the very beginning, the one to me that seemed the most likely to come back to Green Bay was Sean Rhyan. Offensive line is still something that they're trying to sort out, figure out, and get solidified. And just for a variety of different reasons, from price point to need to everything, it felt like Sean Rhyan was probably the most likely. And then really what happened with the free agent center market is, you had Connor McGovern in Buffalo get re-signed. You had 3 centers retired this offseason. Ryan Kelly in Minnesota, Drew Dahlman in Chicago, Bradley Bozeman with the Chargers. All 3 centers retire. It kind of changes the center market. Tyler Biadasz gets released in Washington, and then you have him immediately sign with the Chargers. And now all of a sudden you get to basically yesterday. And if you want a legitimate starting center and you're the Green Bay Packers, you're kind of down to 3 options. You're down to Tyler Linderbaum, who's going to go for double the salary that Sean Rhyan just got. Obviously the better player, but is going to command a massive salary probably today. You have Sean Rhyan, bringing him back. And then Cade Mays is probably the only other real legitimate starting option. He's coming over from Carolina and really has had like a year and a half-ish of starting center in Carolina, and is probably going to be an overpay as well. You could bring back an Elton Jenkins if you wanted to. I don't think that went well at center last season. You've got some other veteran options that are getting released elsewhere that probably don't make a ton of sense. So you were sort of limited, and Sean Ryan all of a sudden became quite obviously the most realistic option. And so they re-signed him. He got sort of the John Runyon Jr. special from a few years ago. Runyon got 3 years, $30 million to go to the Giants. That's the number that I expected him, meaning Sean Ryan, to kind of get all along. You add some inflation in there and you get 3 years, $33 million, which is basically the exact same deal that Runyon got going to the Giants a few years ago. This makes sense to me. It solidifies the O-line. You also have the ability, if you do find a center via the draft that you really like, you can always move Sean Ryan back to guard and have him compete somewhere else because he has that versatility. And now he's back in hand, and you sort of know what your offensive line, at least for the moment, looks like, depending on what happens in the draft. I don't think they're going to target anything expensive in free agency.
Okay, so, but are you saying that you like this move because with that explanation, Andy, it kind of seems like it was options. It was looking at what was available and going, yeah, that's why I like this. Not just based on Ryan and his play at center.
Yeah, I thought he was solid, fine at center. You know, he's better in the run than he is certainly in the pass game. He struggled. I think the one thing that you're hoping for is that, you know, he had a cup of coffee in training camp the last 2 seasons, spending time at center, just getting it to be able to be flexible in case they needed him there. But he never got significant opportunity in any sort of training camp setting to really learn that position and focus on it and hone in on it. So the fact that he's going to have a full off season of playing that position and practicing at that position, I think is going to do him really well. I do think there were times last year that he looked like he was settling in a little bit more. In my opinion, he played the center position better than Elton Jenkins, which wasn't a high bar to sort of pass, but he did.
Right.
And then, it did seem like he kind of solidified that spot a little bit, but I do think with a full off season, that's going to help him quite a bit. And I am still hopeful. And I think I've been probably a little bit higher on Sean Ryan than I think most have kind of been. I think this is based on the price availability, how he played at center at the end of the year. I'm good with this deal all the way around.
Andy Herman, the Pack a Day podcast, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Sorry, technical difficulties. So is that it? Was that a Sean Ryan conversation? Is that all I missed?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so I heard the majority of that. By the way, Andy, say hi to Doug Gottlieb. He's hanging out with us.
How's it going, Doug?
What's up, Andy?
I didn't know at first. It looked like almost like a cardboard cutout of Doug Gottlieb and then I'm like, wait, that is Doug Gottlieb. So
no, he does.
Trevor's already gigantic, and his chair is like 6 inches higher than mine. So I literally look like an Oompa Loompa next to him. If you're watching on the live stream feed. I want to ask about the Bisaccia deal. I get to ask about what. Okay, wait. He's coming back now. He's at Clemson. Josh asking about it. Like I don't know. Was this the plan all along? Was he, hey, dude, like go find another job? We don't want to fire you. Go find another job.
It doesn't seem like it. And from what I've heard and from behind the scenes, it does seem like Green Bay was legitimately caught off guard by this. Listen, I want to give, anyone the benefit of the doubt in this situation, meaning from a Rich Bisaccia standpoint, don't know what's going on in his family life. He has the ability to do what he needs to do, what's best for him, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. But man, the timing of that is beyond brutal to let the team know after every other special teams coordinator has been picked over, after every other special teams coordinator spot has been filled, after your assistant special teams coordinator has taken a job with the Cleveland Browns, after all of that is done, to then say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna not coach anymore, and then immediately after go take a job at Clemson. The part that you're sort of referencing as to, was this Green Bay really just kind of pushing him out? I mean, nobody looks good in that situation if that's the case, because what a mismanagement by Green Bay if they wait until, again, every other special teams coordinator is picked over to do that. You would immediately do that right away if you were going to say, hey, we're going to push you out. Let's figure out some sort of mutual retirement thing here. You go in a different direction. We go in a different direction. You certainly don't wait till that point in time. So I don't know what that ultimate final thing was that Bisaccia decided, hey, I'm going to go in a different direction. Maybe he had heard some whispers of the Clemson job being available. Per Bisaccia, it sounds like he was legitimately stepping away, and then the Clemson job came open. That seems a little bit convenient. But again, these things are always tough to glean from the outside looking in. But from what I have heard, this is something that legitimately caught the Packers off guard.
Andy, what do you think about the trade? We played some audio from you to open the show earlier at the top of the sixth that you didn't exactly sound excited. To your words, this is a head scratcher for me. So the big trade over the weekend with Wooden and a new linebacker from the very city that we're in.
Yeah, so a couple things. I mean, on the forefront of this, you're getting a starting linebacker to pair next to Edgerrin Cooper for this upcoming season. It's a bummer a little bit that you give up Wooden. Wooden's got 1 year left on his deal. They probably had come to the realization that they weren't going to re-sign him to any sort of lucrative contract. So you get rid of 1 year of Colby Wooden. You get your starting linebacker in. It sounds like they had extensive conversations with Quay Walker to try to get him back, and they just weren't going in a direction that was amicable to both sides. So Quay Walker hits free agency today, and I'm assuming he's going to get a pretty lucrative contract. But a couple things here. When you're bringing in a starting linebacker to pair with Edgerrin Cooper, I understand you're probably looking for maybe more of a run stopper, somebody that can pair well with Cooper to kind of go with his flying around mentality and with all the different and unique things that Cooper can do. But what you're looking for, to me, is somebody that can do something really, really well. And when I went back and looked at the numbers and looked at the tape for what you're getting with Franklin, first and foremost, he really struggled in coverage. So that's an issue. If you look at what he has given up in coverage through the course of his career, he has been targeted 346 times in his career, allowing 278 completions, an 80.3% completion percentage. That's not a one-off. That's not a year thing. That is for his career. He has 2,858 yards allowed, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 105.2 when targeted. This is per PFF. And in the last 4 seasons, every year, his quarterback rating when targeted has been 103.2 or worse. So it's not like he had one bad year that tanked this. This is every single year where he has consistently struggled in coverage. But then, of course, he's going to be a really good, run down linebacker, and he's a tackling machine. And yes, he is a tackling machine. He's had tackles of 115, 132, 116. Last year was down a little bit to 80, but he has missed 20 plus tackles every year in the last 4 years. So when he's become a starter, he has had trouble with missed tackles. He has had trouble with coverage and just kind of being consistent in coverage. He's not a great blitzing linebacker. He's okay at it if you scheme him up and you get an open, sort of opportunity to for him to get to the quarterback. But if you even get him on a running back, the running back usually sort of stands him up more often than not. He looks much better in 2024, which is positive. He was an all-pro. He was a Pro Bowler. He led the league in tackles. There's certainly something to his game, but he is coming off his worst season. No questions asked. Again, he struggled in coverage, struggled with tackling, and you're hoping that he can get back to play the way that he was in 2024. If this is somebody that was released in Indianapolis and you pick up on like a 1 year, $2 million, $3 million deal, sure, I totally understand it. But to pay $7 million for this to be your starting linebacker and to have to give up, even though it's just Colby Wooden, a nice rotational defensive lineman where you are very thin at that position already, that to me is where this becomes a little bit more of a head scratcher.
Okay, and then yet that wasn't even the end of the news there. Then we also had some restructuring that went on the O-line with Banks. What's that all about? What am I thought we were disappointed in him. I didn't know where we were at, and now it looks like they're restructuring and not planning on moving on. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a vote of confidence and sort of doubling down on Aaron Banks, the fact that they're willing to restructure his deal and push some money out further. Now, a couple things here. Banks was always going to come back this year. I've floated the idea of I don't know that that's the best idea just based on how he played last year. But even with that idea being floated, the high expectation was that he was going to be back. It definitely opens up another can of worms if you release him and now you need to go get another starting offensive line in a free agent and draft class that it's always a little bit of a crapshoot there. So he was going to be back this year. But what I did think they were going to want to do was not touch his contract. So in 2027, when you get to that point, if he doesn't play well again this year, you can easily move on from him and make that decision at that time and leave that sort of option open. And this makes it a little bit tougher because there's going to be more dead cap next year. If you release him, it makes it not as clean to release him. So to me, this is a vote of confidence, not just for 2026 or 2026, but for 2027 as well. And I think that was maybe the more interesting aspect of this. I do think he played better in the second half of last year when he got a little bit more healthy. He was so banged up in the first half of the year. So I do think he was more productive. I don't think that's just a talking point from the Packers. That's how I had it graded out as well. And so the hope is that he can be healthy this year and play like he did in the second half for the entirety of the season. And if he does, it's probably okay. but I thought this was going to be maybe the last lever that they were going to pull to open up some salary cap space. It was one of the first ones that they did, which again is a vote of confidence in Aaron Banks. He certainly is going to be your starting left guard this year, but again, it probably makes it more likely that he's on the team in 2027 as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Back in the podcast, Andy Herman with us on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Doug Gottlieb hanging out with us in the hotel room. He's got, unfortunately, nothing else better to do but hang out with us this morning.
Wow.
No, here's a question. So, Jonathan Gannon is the new DC, right?
Yep.
What do you see as the changes first in personnel wise in his approach this year?
Yeah, well, first, I would love if we could get an introductory press conference to Jonathan Gannon to ask some of these questions and to gain a little bit more insight. We did glean a little bit from Brian Gutekunst, not in his first press conference of the offseason, but at the scouting combine. He floated a couple things. The first he said was that they were looking at free agency at inside linebacker for more competition. And when you say inside linebacker, usually you're talking 3-4 defense. You're usually talking middle linebacker, Mike a little bit more when you're talking 4-3. If you say inside, it usually means it's a 3-4. He did also legitimately say in more of a intimate, interview session with the Packers media that there are going to be more 3-4 fronts this year. Jonathan Gannon loves playing quarters coverage, and that's going to be a change. And usually when you're playing more quarters coverage, you're going to play 3-4 as well. So all indicators are that this is probably going to be more of a base 3-4 defense. If you look at what Gannon did in Arizona, it was a little bit more unique in a league that has gone so nickel heavy. Gannon really leaned a lot more into base defense and also into dime defense more than other coordinators did. Now, he was not the play caller on defense, but you still would assume that he had oversight on the defensive side of the ball. And so we could see a little bit more dime defense with 6 defensive backs out there. I do think we're going to see a base 3-4. I think we're going to see a lot of quarters coverage, which, by the way, Zaire Franklin does fit better in than the defense that the Colts were trying to run a season ago. I do think Franklin was a little bit of a fish out of water in specifically what they were asking him to do in that new defense last year. So that could be something that makes Franklin a little bit better and maybe getting back to the way that he was playing in 2024 for Green Bay. But those are just some of the changes that I expect. And then the interesting thing to me is, Gannon was somebody that is very multiple, is very sort of cutting edge with some of the different things that he's doing. And what we've sort of seen from Matt LaFleur, whether it was with Mike Pettin, Joe Barry, or last year or the last couple of years with Jeff Hafley, is he really likes a bend but don't break and almost more vanilla style of defense. We saw Mike Pettin almost, I don't want to say dumb down, but sort of simplify his defense more once Matt got here. He didn't blitz as much as he did before Matt was here. We were expecting Jeff Hafley to play a certain way, and then he kind of didn't. And Joe Barry certainly played more of that, sort of quarters coverage and a little bit more bend but don't too. So I think this is a LaFleur thing, and I'm interested to see how much influence LaFleur has on that, or if Gannon just gets to kind of do his thing as defensive coordinator.
All right, Andy, before we let you go, because we have to transition into some Brewers stuff, Josh, I was just going to bring up Andy is a big, respectfully, Doug, GB women's basketball fan. So where are you watching the game today at 11?
Yeah, I'm not right away simply because I have a live show that I'm going to be doing for Free Agent Frenzy. Free Agent starts at 11 a.m. today. But if I can, I'm going to try to get it on the TV in the background to be glancing up every once in a while. Of course, there's going to be breaking news from a free agent standpoint. But the nice thing is that, I don't even want to jinx anything, but I'm hoping that we're going to get to see more UWGB women's game after today. So, I don't think today's going to be the last one. So we're going to be good.
Why do you respectfully? We stayed to go to the game. I'm a GB women's basketball fan too, Trevor.
Well, no,
you're allowed
Trevor.
to be a fan of both.
Very much.
You're allowed to be a fan of both. This is not like Packers and Bears.
I think he's a bigger fan of the women's team. We got to do some work with Andy with the men's team.
No, it's the front runner. They've been winning for 25 years. So that's
remember when I said winning changes everything?
There you go. It does.
I loved what the men's program did this year. Not just saying that. Congratulations on a heck of a season, Doug. It was awesome to see, and looking forward to see what next year brings as well, my friend.
Butt coming. There's a butt.
There's no butt.
No, there's a butt coming.
No butt. No butt. Legitimate honesty.
But he's a bigger fan of the women's team. All right. Anyway, thank you, Andy.
But
we appreciate you.
I would rather watch a more
us.
competent coach. That's what it is.
Hey, Kayla's amazing though. So yeah, Green Bay's in good hands right now. Green Bay's in very good hands.
No question.
Andy, we love you, man. We appreciate you jumping on. All the best starting at 11 o'clock for legal tampering, which is the dumbest oxymoron in the history of oxymorons.
I absolutely love it. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Andy Herman at Andy Herman NFL on Twitter, the Pack a Day podcast, joining us on the inside. What?
I think you should change the name of his podcast
To Pack a Moment?
No, to Legal Tampering.
Legal today.
Tampering. It's actually it sounds like a great band name.
Yeah, it might be the new name for our show.
Legal tampering.
Legal tampering.
I like that. Legal tampering.
I mean,
it's like pre-boarding. How do you board a plane before you board a plane?
Unbelievable.
Welcome for pre-boarding.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the Brewers. Our thanks to Andy Herman jumping on with us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. I think in the break, Josh, I'm going to ask Doug to run across the street and tell whoever's got a Christmas tree up in that apartment over there to figure it out. What are we doing?
Hey, don't tell people
right
about
there.
Christmas.
Don't tell people.
Why are you looking through people's windows?
It's lit up. I wasn't trying to stop.
Wait, no, that's our hotel, dude.
It is not.
That's a reflection of our hotel. You can see through those windows.
Yeah, well, of course. See, there's another one
Oh, boy.
over there with the lights on it. All right, let's go to break.
Yeah,
when we
let's
come
go to
back, we'll
break.
talk about the Brewers. That is not a reflection. That is somebody's apartment right there. Sorry about that. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Doug Gottlieb hanging out with us this morning on a beautiful Monday in the state of Wisconsin, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. This is a blast. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. A beautiful Monday in the good land. Doug Gottlieb, the head coach of UW Green Bay, hanging out with Josh and I. I'm here in Indy for the Horizon League tournament. GB took one on the chin yesterday from Northern Kentucky, and the season comes to an end. The women play today at 11. Doug's going to hang out with us for one more segment as we welcome in on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Josh, the man, the myth, the legend, back from Arizona, Tim Allen. What's up, Timmy? Good to see you, buddy.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Say hi to Doug Gottlieb. He's hanging out with us. I gave him the rundown in the break of just how big of a deal you are.
I don't know about that. Maybe Doug's a little bit bigger deal than I am. But, Doug, great talking to you, man.
Feeling is mutual. Excited for the season this year.
All right, Timmy. So let's jump in there. You're back from Arizona. How was that? What are the stories, and what's your assessment of the crew?
Young pitching staff. And that's just the thing, guys, is that, you know, if people are always going to talk at this time, whether you're a fan of any team, you're going to say, well, what if? If, and in this case, if Andrew Vaughn is the real deal like he was in the second half of last year, if Bryce Terang, is he going to follow up with another fantastic season? Does Jackson Chury? All these questions will pop up. Will Brandon Woodruff stay healthy, et cetera, et cetera? The biggest one for me, and I'm pretty confident in this offense. I think it's a great brand of baseball, and I think that's what it has endeared Brewers fans the last couple of years, the brand of baseball. It's just, you know, like pinball players. They just pop it into the gap here. Are they going to hit a ton of home runs? No. They're going to steal bases. They're going to take an extra base. They're going to draw their walks. They're going to, you know, all these things. The biggest thing, gentlemen, is that young pitching staff. Now, after the trade of Freddie Peralta, Burns has been gone a couple of years here. There's no Jose Quintana as a veteran presence. That would be the question. Kyle Harrison, Quinn Priester's trying to mend up that wrist. But, you know, after that, Chad Patrick, a young pitcher. Quinn Priester is a young pitcher once he gets back healthy. And so Woody being your veteran anchor, okay, check that box. That's cool. But the rest of them, I mean, is it Logan Henderson? Is it Chad Patrick? Is it Kyle Harrison, Shane Drowan? I could go on and on and on. And then finally, Jacob Mizorowski, is he going to, you know, corral the command? It's a young rotation. The Brewers are going to have to kick, scratch, fight, and claw on a nightly basis. That's really the bottom line. If I had a concern, it's the young rotation.
Timmy, what about the injury bug already, or the injury concerns? I know that, you know, before spring training, we talked to, and I brought this up a few times, but we talked to Lane Grindle, we talked to Jeff Levering, and I said, what's the biggest thing we want to see out of spring training? And both of them said, people be healthy. And then immediately we get into camp, and they're starting to talk about, well, now Woody might not be ready to go, and now Priester's dealing with some soreness here. And I'm curious, are we not worried at all about this rotation and these players already starting the season with some concerns?
Not as bad as last year, Josh.
Well,
that's
true.
I mean, wow. The first, 6 weeks of the season,
yeah.
Here's a team that lost 12 of 15 pitchers. I mean, you can't write that script. So is it as bad in terms of injuries? But, you know, you're right. If Woody, if Woody, I hate to put a target on it, but, you know, if Woody can come up with 20 starts, I think I'd be okay with that. I know that, you know, a typical starter, a frontline starter, one of your main guys is going to get 30. So can you get through Woody staying healthy? And Priester, that might be a bigger concern, because they're still trying to figure out just what's going on. He went through this wrist thing and it moved up his arm. And, you know, they're on some treatment plans and they're checking it out. There's no ligament damage in there at all. It's kind of a puzzling situation. He went through it last year. They had that, 17 or 18 games in 16 days or whatever it was, that run.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started in Chicago last year, that's when he first felt it. So they've been treating this for a while. It is a little concerning, though. It really is. And this is why every single team, and I think Doug can attest to this, as a coach or as a team, you expect surprises, and some come in a positive fashion and others are negative, but you're going to get both. You just can't define them before they happen. You got to just prepare for some coming. And this might be the deal. This might be the deal with Priest, or that, ooh, man, damn, it's, it bit him. But then again, on the other hand, you might have, whoa, Kyle Harrison, that lefty they got in the Durbin deal, he may be a stud, or Brandon Sprout. So surprising, they can come in both fashions.
Tim Allen, the franchise himself, on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Doug Gottlieb hanging out for one more question before he has to go and send off the women's team to their game in the Horizon League tournament. DG?
So Tim, you brought up a great point. And, with a 15, 16-man roster in college basketball, my brain works as you're going to have two guys that are better than you thought, two guys that aren't as good as you thought, right?
There
and
you
you're
go.
Kind of planning, right? So we'll be Debbie Downer. Who to this point has been disappointing to them?
Well, Doug, first of all, who taught me that many years ago was Craig Counsell. And I really didn't look at it that way. You coaches, you kind of, that's your plan of attack. You don't want to be surprised about anything. But Counsell had said years ago, Tim, I'm going to be really pleased with a couple of players. Might be 4, might be 2. But on the other hand, I'm going to be disappointed in maybe someone's just having a rough year. I mean, Christian Yelich went through it a couple of years ago, and that was a huge surprise. But he kept me on a sort of having my feet on the ground. I'm rather emotional when it comes to that stuff. But, in terms of the disappointment part of it, I mean, it's really tough to peg. Because if you look at numbers in Cactus League action, in spring training games, do you do some scouting? Let's say you're a hitter, and in a normal season, regular season, you would say, all right, here's my starter I'm going up against. I'm probably going to get at least 2 ABs against this cat, and probably or possibly 3. I've got some studying to do on him. In spring training, do they do that, or do they work on their timing? Or do they work on I'm just looking for the breaking balls here? So it's tough to judge the bottom end. If I had to say anybody, the velocity is down a little bit on Jared Koenig, and he's been getting beat up a little bit. 2 of his last 3. Now this outing yesterday was pretty decent. Velocity was back up to 95. So Jared Koenig would be the one, but man, it's so tough to judge in spring training, because maybe he was working on one particular pitch, and all he was worried about was, not closing or not opening up your shoulder, etc. So, I mean, I would point to that one. Offensively, where's Jackson Churio? Where's Bryce Terang? Where's William Contreras? Tough to peg those guys. They're in the WBC.
So speaking about the WBC, I was curious. We've seen a lot of highlights on these Brewers players of, we saw Fisher, we've seen Ortiz, we obviously saw Terang. Are you watching this going, hey, here's some guys on a big stage that are going to also make noise for the Brewers? Or is this just a lot of these guys taking advantage of an opportunity to get some of that spotlight, but it's not going to change much in your view come opening day?
No, it's really cool, Josh, to watch these guys on that stage in that environment. And you know what has helped those guys the last couple of years? Pennant races, division titles, playoff games. It was upsetting a couple of years ago with the Mets, but Murphy said, hey, they're going to learn from that. What happened the following year? Last year, they win another division title, 97 games. American Family Field. The place is packed. It's the heartbeat that is starting to slow down for these guys in that moment and not getting all jazzed up and jacked up and swinging out of the zone. And it is really helpful for these guys. And when they come back, I mean, that's something that can transfer. That's something that they're in go mode right now. I mean, they're not probably August mode, but they're in go mode. It's really nice to see. You mentioned Andrew Fisher. Look out for that dude. That's all I got to say.
Right.
I mean, there's another surprise, guys, is that, they drafted him, and, he's got a little bit of a pedigree in big moments, but my goodness, there's a chip there. The guy plays with an edge, maybe a little cockiness. You may see that dude way before his scheduled time. That's going to be cool. No, the WBC is great. Terang just tearing it up. Spurio, a little scared, got hit in the hand a few nights ago, and it came back. X-rays came back negative. He's pretty good. He's good to go.
All right, Tim, I wanted to get into some stories of you and Tommy, but I think we're going to have to do that on Friday if you were willing to join us. There's some breaking Packers news. Rashawn Gary, according to multiple reports, Josh, you seeing this?
Yep.
Traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a third-round pick in return. We're going to get to break, Timmy, and then we're going to break that down. I kicked Doug Gottlieb out. I'm sorry that we're kicking you out, but we're going to break this down as we cross over with 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. Tim, let's talk again on Friday. And I want the behind-the-scenes stories that nobody else gets to know of you and Tommy down in Arizona.
All right, deal. Trev, thanks, Josh. Always a pleasure. Doug, great meeting you.
Thanks, buddy.
Talk to you later. Tim Allen joining us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Rashawn Gary, a Packer, no more. Josh, you called it, man. We'll assess the situation when we come back. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Wow. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm going to walk that back real quick. What we said just before the break, it's already been corrected. It's Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys for a late round pick. We don't know the number yet. It was initially reported as a third rounder that got walked back. Now it's a late round. We're still not sure what the round is, but nonetheless, Rashawn Gary no longer a Green Bay Packer. We don't have enough time to completely assess the situation as we are joined by Rami Makloff as we cross over with our friends from 9 to noon with John Kuhn. But Josh, your initial thoughts quick on the trade of Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, I'm interested to see exactly what this means. We'll get Rami on camera in a second. Rami, you want to just pull your camera over? That'd be great. In the meantime, yeah, I do think that the interesting thing to me is that this is a 2027 late round pick. So with the Packers not having a first round pick in this draft because of what they did with Micah Parsons, obviously, I would love to get that instant gratification and got more picks now. Give me picks now. That would have been good. But we'll see. I don't even, like you said, we don't even know the terms of what it was. And I think we were all in agreement that we wanted him gone. We were very confused by the things that Goody was saying at the Combine about Rashawn Gary, going, okay, does this mean we're going to have Rashawn Gary back this coming season? So I'm glad that they're moving on from him. I'm hoping that means that they're taking some of, what they got to pay him as well. But I am interested to see what this means for what they're getting back in compensation.
Rami, this is the interesting part. Guys go from good to great when they're surrounded by great, and some guys just don't. Do you think that Rashawn Gary had, for lack of better terms, a chip on his shoulder when they brought in Micah Parsons? Is that what led to this?
I mean, Rashawn Gary was pretty damn good for the first half of last season and then just completely disappeared in the second half. And that was like, you might be able to chalk some of that up to Micah Parsons goes down with the injury. And so Rashawn Gary attracts a little bit more attention, but the downslide of Rashawn Gary started before Micah Parsons ever went down with the injury. Guys, the three of us each had just as many sacks as Rashawn Gary did, I think, from like week 9 on. And
you're correct.
And he only had a couple more tackles for loss than the three of us did in that time as well. I was somewhat mystified by what happened to Rashawn Gary in the second half of last season. I mean, just completely disappeared and became a non-factor for a football team. And that's a guy who, like, we've seen it. We've seen what he's capable of and what the tools are in his bag, so to speak. And they just disappeared. I don't know if he was struggling with an injury that they did not make us aware of or privy to in the second half of that season, but it was a complete and total disappearing act for him in the second half of that season.
Ian Rappaport, the NFL Network, now confirming it is a 4th round pick, a 2027 4th round pick. Yeah, well, so I think that's a win for the Packers. I am disappointed in Rashawn Gary and the performance he had. I was optimistic, as you would expect me to be, when Goody said we would expect him to be who he was in the beginning of the season. And to your point, Rami, he had a really good start to the season.
He did.
But for him to fall off the way he did it not seem, Rami and Josh, like something personal happened? Like something went wrong culturally or with playing time or his feedback? But he went from doing incredible things on the other side of Micah Parsons to non-existent, but nonetheless a 4th round pick. So did we win?
Yeah, I think so. You wanted to get that money off the books, and you weren't getting a day 1 pick for him. So getting a 4th round pick, I think, was probably the best that you could hope for in return for Rashawn Gary. So yeah, I think that is a win for the Packers.
Is it not a little weird though that it's for the 2020 in 2027?
27. Yeah, that's
Isn't that a little weird?
That's a little strange. That is a little strange.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, maybe the Cowboys felt like they needed their picks this year. They did trade a bunch of picks at the trade deadline last year to go and get Quinnen Williams. So maybe they felt like they needed that draft capital this year, and the Packers were willing to settle for waiting until next year. I don't know. You'd have to be in those rooms to see how they exactly came to that agreement and why why the Cowboys wanted to wait until 27 to let go of one of their picks and why the Packers were agreeable to it. But either way, man, either way, if I'm a Packers fan, I'm happy with this move today.
Yeah, I wonder if that pick, I wonder if Goody does some things. He includes that pick. He just looks at that as we needed to get rid of Gary. He knew he wanted to get rid of Gary, and he's going to end up bundling that in some way, shape, or form to try to make moves. I would be very surprised if Goody doesn't make some type of move in this draft, looking at the needs and the fact that they don't have a first and trying to put some pieces together. It's very hard for me to say that you thought that this team on paper without the injuries could win the entire thing and then go, you're not going to be aggressive this year though in the draft. Like I don't see that happening. So maybe that pick ends up just becoming a chip thrown in on something else that'll happen on draft night.
If you listen to Goody, and it wasn't in the open session that he had with all the members of the media, but his little side session with just the Green Bay beat reporters, you didn't have to read too hard between the lines. When he used the word if in talking about whether I know he had a lot of nice things to say about Rashawn Gary, but when he used the word if and to refer to whether or not Rashawn Gary would be back with the team this year, that's really all I need from a general manager is to just leave when the chatter is as loud as it was around Rashawn Gary when the season ended. That's really all I need to hear from a general manager to know that they're leaning pretty hard towards finding a way to get this guy out of the building.
Agreed.
You want to know something funny, guys?
What's that?
Doug Gottlieb left his hotel room key in my room.
Oh, what do we do with it, guys?
We got to do something.
Okay.
So the problem is I don't know the number.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
It's a
that's
bit of an
easy. He
issue.
said he's 5 rooms down. You just stream live. Just stream it live and just go up to the 5 and see which one it opens.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just start trying doors and just go take all his luggage or just take all his underwear out of his suitcase.
Brilliant.
I'm waiting for him to walk back in here and be like, hey man, I leave my key in here.
Oh, and that's the best part. You have to not be in the room. Don't be there.
Well, I'm pretty sure he didn't shut the door because I hear whatever's going outside in the hallway loud and clear right now.
No, we need to follow. Take advantage of this opportunity. Do not play nice here.
He set it down and left without it. So this could be fun.
Open his room and be like, hey, sorry, I thought you'd want this.
Take his,
if he's in there.
Take his phone charger. You know what I mean?
Something, right?
Just something.
I just don't. I have a 50-50 shot. Plus, there's 5 rooms down across the hallway, and I'm also going to be honest. I don't trust Doug Gottlieb's math. So what if it's like 4 rooms and I'm sitting here?
Well, it's only gonna just casually walk past some rooms with it.
Just walk past the rooms and flash the card, see which one turns green, and pop the door open.
Unreal. All right, Rami, what's coming up today on 9 to noon with John Kuhn and you?
Lots of Packers stuff as the legal tampering period starts during our show at 11 a.m.
Is that not the dumbest thing ever? By the way,
I kind of like it. I kind of like it. It's the NFL's way, and they're the best at this, man. It's the NFL's way of building buzz and intrigue and making us talk about the product. Nobody has the calendar figured out of keeping your product in the headlines the way that the NFL does. And I think this is one of the smart little twists that they've thrown into it that adds to it. So we'll talk about, it was a busy weekend for the Packers and obviously the Rashawn Gary move today. We'll talk about all that. We'll see what Packers fans want once free agency does open. Jacob Westendorf joins us at 10 o'clock. And then, like I said, the floodgates open at 11 o'clock. You guys know how this legal tampering period thing happens. There's usually at least 1, 2, 3 headlines right out of the gates as soon as these teams can come out in the open and talk about what they're doing. So
well, and cutting Gary, trading Gary right now, I'm definitely expecting there to be some Packers
like a Kingsley Enagbare move or something like that. Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, and they had to open up some room in the cap because they were over with the trade this weekend. So mission accomplished. We'll see how the rest of the day goes. All right, Rami, we appreciate you, bud. Stay tuned here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff coming up next on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sports Bar. Thanks to Doug Gottlieb, Potawatomi Sportsbook. Speak, Trev. Doug Gottlieb, Tim Allen, who else? Andy Herman, and all of you on a Monday when, let's be honest, we're all tired from the time change. But it was a great weekend, and it will be a great Tuesday on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. See you tomorrow.
Because we're not done yet.